Okay, good morning once again, and I once again welcome you all to this panel discussion, and we are thankful that you have accepted our invitation to share your views and to the present audience here.
Our fund manager, Mr. Siddharth Mandlewala, has already elaborated that we are going to witness a geometric growth during Amrit Kaal. He has explained the key parameters of faster economic growth. We know it for sure that next 25 years is going to be the most opportune time for creating wealth through investment.
So as rightly said by Janish, so under this blueprint of government, they have highlighted 4 key parameters of Amrit Kaal. So basically the economic growth, the employment, housing for all, and doubling the farmers' income. So let us understand how best we can tap this potential of Amrit Kaal to create wealth. And for this, we have the finest panel of 4 gentlemen who has created their wealth for themselves and have a very good idea on how to create wealth.
So now, without wasting the time, I would like to initiate this panel discussion. Sir, we love to know a lot of things from you. So we are expecting a lot from you. So now first question to Mr. Hirenbhai Vepari. Sir, you are the great investor and invest in different assets and geographies. What are your learning from such investments and what you are looking for in next 25 years of Amrit Kaal?
Well, I'm not a great investor, first of all, I tell you. I think I stated at the outset, it's about taking a long-term view in the matter. So you invest and remain invested, plus keep adding to the investment. Besides, at least as far as my own investments are concerned, I've never written any of the investments. Maybe my professional income supports me enough that I never require anything to redeem, and I don't really need to churn the portfolio, except probably in 1 or 2 instances. However, from my experiences, I can say that I think where I've really made good money is through leveraging. Well, again, I stated leveraging is bad, but when you invest outside India, there are products that allow you to leverage only on that product, security. You get funding at maybe 2.5% against the higher returns, and you get probably 3 times the leveraging against the product. So what you end up getting is the benefit of leveraging against your return, A, and B, of course, the benefit of appreciation, because dollar all the time keeps on appreciating against the rupee. Besides, I've got if you ask my portfolio, it is pretty diversified. I am not just investing into equities, but also into sovereign gold bonds, which may sound a little conservative. I invest into assets like some of the debt funds also, which have performed well. Let me be very honest, I tell you, because if I keep it till the maturity, they really I end up getting good results. So I wouldn't say I'm the best of the investor. I'm really creating those extra alpha. Great. But yes, this is how I've been investing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hirenbhai, for sharing your views. Sir, next question to Anand, sir. Sir, we all know that you are a successful industrialist and also a vivid investor. So can you just describe your investment journey and how do you look forward in coming 25 years?
Thank you, Shail. Before that, I'll just have to give one example of how a long-term investor should behave and work. So we had an investment in my company. We went public last year, so there's a disclaimer. So in 2012, one of my good friends from UK, he invested in Anupam for 50 crores, 40% of the company.
Okay.
Now, last year when we got listed, that 50 crore became 2,000 crores. So
Great.
that's the
Great.
kind of, so that's a risk which you have to take at some point of time. So, and risk is just trust. So you have to believe in somebody and actually see his past trend and future. So I think something which we all have to understand is it's all about risk. That is what we were discussing on the table while the program was going on with Himanshu Bhai, that it's risk. So that comes from your gut feeling, and you have to believe in that. Not every time it goes right, but as Steve Jobs was mentioning that out of 100 or 10, at least 2 times you go right and that's a multi-bagger. So I don't say that Anupam, which is a company which I own, is a multi-bagger, which I would love to make it a multi-bagger in the coming future. But yes, as of now, I have met 2 guys, really good money in the last, say, 5 years. So that is what my belief is. So stay invested for long. Don't look back. I think, and as mentioned by Siddharth Bhai and Hemant Bhai, India is going places. We don't have to worry. In the next 10 years, Modi Sahab should continue, I mean, between the lines. But that policy of consistency in the market, I mean, that is something which is very important for all investors. And in my company, I hold very large investments by FII, and the kind of mindsets they bring, I mean, 3.5% of my 14% is held by FIIs, Nomura, Fidelity. And the kind of thought process which they bring on the table is unbelievable. So I would suggest that only way to invest and make money in stock market is long term, not short term. So that's what I would suggest for the next years.
Thank you, sir. So it's better to stay invested, and our vision should be for the long term. So,
Can I just intervene? I'm sorry.
yes, sir.
I know Anand would have not stated this fact, but his wife, Mona Desai, is now among the 100 richest women in this country.
Thank you, sir. My next question to Himanshu, sir. My next question to Himanshu, sir. Sir, you are also managing 2 companies. One is in listed space, HLE Glasscoat, and most of our investors are know very well. And second, Yashasvi Rasayan. So we have seen that the true success will never be overnight. What is the formula that an engineer can become a successful businessman?
Is there any formula?
If you
There
have
is
any.
no formula. See, when an engineer graduates, he understands building structural things and machines, etc. But when an engineer starts solving problems of his customers, then that is the seed when he becomes a businessman, or then he starts becoming a businessman. See, most of the time, we have focused on not only building things for our customers, but providing them solutions. And when we started providing solutions, like Anand is one of my biggest esteemed customer. When you start solving their problem, automatically the things start moving. Of course, you need passion for your whatever you do. You should be little risk taker, not little, but you should, as he said, it comes from your guts. I mean, when a true entrepreneur takes risk, he doesn't know he is taking risk. It is known to him only after when some successes come. So risk taking is very important. Perseverance is very important. And when the things start falling in place, the team automatically gets built. And that is the basic success of being a businessman from an engineer.
Thank you, sir.
So after this, we will have a small Q&A also. So I request everyone, there is a form inside the kit that for the Q&A. So you can ask, you can write your questions and hand over to any of our colleagues. So they can ask the questions to the panelists as well as Siddharth Bhai or anyone you want. So moving forward, sir, my question to Hardik sir. So you have been advising your clients for over two decades now. And so what is your approach basically to investors on asset allocation, which is one of the most key parameters?
Fine. See, first and foremost, congratulations to Team Concept for consecutive 13th signature event, and compliments for a fine design that the content of the event.
Thank you.
Coming back to, before I answer the response on the asset allocation, let me briefly summarize what has been discussed since morning. The first and foremost, when Hemant Bhai was sharing the Amrit Kaal, he said it by 2047, when we will be celebrating 100 years, the developing India will be developed India. So I read this statement in two sense. First and foremost, there is a cost of developing to develop. So the alpha or the returns that India has produced in couple of past decade, probably I see next 2 decade, the most exciting decade that India will, and the title, developed nation, probably we will have less growth and less alpha in terms to, so we have to be ready for a lower return in future. Secondly, every panel member have, including all the speakers, have very loudly said that we have to think long term. Now, the definition of long term itself is debatable. What is long term? So, yesterday I was having one session at some place, so I said one thing, that let's not make it complicated, let's deal in decades. Because in US, in past 50 years, the average holding period was 14 years. Now the average holding period is 4 months. So the long term, what we believe probably could be short term as well. So let's deal in decade only. Thirdly, let us not chase return. Let us not chase return. Let us understand the associated risk. Because risk and return goes hand in hand. And the last point that I want to submit before I share one slide on the asset allocation, that do not invest in product, invest in process. Because ultimately it is the process that will bring profits. What Siddharth was mentioning about the case studies and what Siddharth was mentioning about his approach as a fund manager. So we have to adopt those healthy practices. And the question that Seval raised to me, how do I advise to the asset allocation? Good. Now, I have my own experience of dealing with families over 25 plus years. And by default, an investor is overexposed either to his own business, which is a biased decision by itself, or overexposed to the real estate, that is the history, because there is a lot of comfort of parking undisclosed money. That was before RERA. And if we were to look at the India pie of the financial asset and physical asset and the third asset class, that is commodities or currencies, as Siddharth rightly concluded, that the real wealth is the demat wealth. And demat wealth is the least wealth today in India. So next 20 years, if we are to approach the financial asset, and when I say financial asset, I have this just for display, that there are 10, 12 options just within financial assets that one can explore. So every asset has its own tenure, return potential, and it has its own. So we as an investor, if have simple formula of this, that how much allocation to each asset class and each product I have allocated, probably you are so sure to make your wealth. So these are the avenues that one can think of, and you should look at the allocation, percentage of allocation to each product that will ensure the amount of wealth. Thank you.
Thank you, Hardik sir, for your valuable inputs. And as Hardik sir mentioned, we should focus on process rather than product. We should define our time frame. What is long term for us, right? And very crucial and important things is asset allocation. So please try to note down your points, everything on paper, and then think what is and where you have already invested. So now, my next question to Anand sir. Anand sir, we would like to know your partner in business, Dr. Kiranbhai Patel, has built huge wealth in USA and in India. Can you give us an idea on his approach toward investing?
So Dr. Kiran C. Patel, he stays in Tampa in Florida. He's a multi-billionaire, as explained by you. I'll just give you 2 anecdotes about how he has made his college here also. Yeah. So he has just made a new college, which is university now, in Bharuch. He's a very big philanthropist, so maybe if somebody wants to know more about that, we'll discuss later. But he explained two things to me. One was the first time, he's a cardiologist by profession. So, and he's very good at numbers. I mean, inherently very good at numbers. So, while being a doctor, he used to come in contact with a lot of insurance companies which have, gone bankrupt or things. And he, being a doctor and writing insurance data for those companies, he got the gist of how a good insurance company should run. And so he goes to the bankruptcy court and say that I have $1. I'll buy a $5 million bankrupt company, insurance company, only for giving by $1. If you want to give it to me, I'll take it. So that's how, and there was no other bidder for that company in 1997, 98. So the government says, okay, fine, you take it, but it's the other question. After 1 year, if you make profits, we want 10% of that. He says, I'll give you only 2% of the profits. So very shrewd at negotiating on, he got that company. He drew the company very well, very ethically, very clean, very simple. And in 2003, he sold it for $250 million.
Okay.
That whole company to a very large, again, a US company, insurance company. Similar way, there's a non-compete for next 3 years. So after 6 months, he again wanted to do the same business. And so he goes to the same company and says, you take me out of the non-compete, I will give you $5 million. So that company says, fine, $5 million they take, and non-compete is out. Again, second company he drives. And in 2008, just before Lemon, he sells that company for $900 million.
Oh.
He drives the company, runs it, brings it and clean. I mean, he makes, the only thing which he gives to the clients, I mean, the insured guy was less hassles. I mean, every insurance company in the US doesn't want to give money back to the client. So he makes life hell for those clients. In his case, he used to make life heaven for those clients. So, all clients, all people who want to get insured, you should run to him. So this was second time. And the third time, he again starts a new company in 2010 and drives it to $1.5 billion top line and then sells it in 2019 for $1.9 billion. So these are just the three examples only in insurance business. So before Lemon, Lemon happened in September, he was sitting in July with $900 million in his account. So when Lemon happened, he had cash. So every banker just came that we just want to sign and I will give you this golf course. I just want to sign and I will give you this hotel. So in 900 million, he was able to buy almost $5 billion worth of material without giving a single dollar in 2009. And all that property now has become more than around $30 to $40 billion. So that is Dr. Kiran's perception. But again, one thing which he goes is his gut feeling.
Right.
So that gut feeling and risk, I think so. Again, coming back to what Himanshu Bhai said and what I said earlier, it's all about your gut feeling and your risk, but calculated risk. And while Anupam was Dr. Kiran Patel's first investment in India, because he always had a habit, understanding that India mein thodu taklif pade. Public paisa lene thodu natak kare. But we wanted to prove that wrong, so we were on the verge of signing, and we wanted growth capital. In 2016, yes. We wanted growth capital. So we were looking at private equities and funds. So we had already tied up with Standard Chartered Private Equity, got the term sheet done, got the SHA filed up, and suddenly we meet Dr. Kiran Bhai via Milan Bhai, and we explained to him, so Milan Bhai says, Kiran Bhai, આના નવું કરવા માંગે છે તમે જ્યારે જોઈ લો નહીં કે વધારે પડતું નથી કરતો ને એમ વધારે પડતી રિસ્ક નથી લેવા માંગતો ને તો just have it validated. So Kiran Bhai કહે કે ભાઈ આ સારું છે ને આટલું DD થયું છે અને all DDs were taken on Anupam, my company. And we went through that process. So, it was a ready platform for me. So he said, Anand, tane કેટલું valuation મળ્યું? મેં કીધું મને X મળ્યું. ચાલ તને એમ કે 80 વધારે આપું અને 2% ઓછા લઉં છું બોલ. તારે પૈસા લેવા જ મારા. So એમ કરીને એમને મને પૈસા નાખ્યા. He made Anupam the vehicle. And after 2016, he has invested in almost in around 10 different companies. So that is again a risk he took. But it was a calculated risk because Anupam had done all the DDs. We were on the verge of signing with a very large private equity. And that drove him to, trust us and take that risk, and which has proved. So he invested on up till now around 500 crores, which is worth around 4,000 crores as of yesterday, as of last Friday. So in 4 years. So 500 to 4,000 is in 4 વર્ષમાં કંઈ ઓછું નથી ખોટું નથી એના માટે.
Right.
And liquidity છે. The best part is it's liquid. So not ready liquid, but there are buyers for that. So I think it has worked. So learning from what he has been doing in the past, I think it's all about risk, calculate risk, and gut feeling.
Right. And sir, what are the key secret points? Key
बता ही दो हम यार.
Anupam Rasayan is now Anupam Rasayan of in listed space.
I think it is what Hemant said, perseverance, hard work,
Passion.
and passion. આ ત્રણ ચીજ તમે આપો એટલે you are successful. And of course, fourth is luck.
Yes.
I would say luck is very important. Luck is,
What is luck? Luck is the seizing opportunity.
I would say, સાહેબ કે પછી એ luckની અંદર તમે blessings ગણી કાઢો, ઉપરવાળાના કે શું ગણી કાઢો ખબર નહીં. But I think that's a very big factor.
Yes. Actually, Himanshu sir also told us when he was at our office, luck is also important whenever you are in business. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you. And this is really a unique definition of getting outer level of success. So, thank you. And Himanshu sir, my next question to you. So, you just acquired a company in Germany for the next level growth. So, here we would like to know what approach, according to you, is the right way. So, is it organic growth and focus on a single business, or inorganic growth through acquisition? So, which model do you prefer and why?
It's a good question. I mean, there is no cookbook solution for growth. I think both goes parallel. If you start with, inorganic, your own organic things, and you have to see, you have to keep your eyes open, and you have to see what are the synergistic product line or customer base or your geographies. And then you have to decide whether you want to go for organic growth or inorganic growth. In my case, we already had a glassline unit manufacturing. So in that, while scouting, we found that there is a company in Germany which is very innovative, and their glass is best in the class. When I say glass, it is glass for the lining of the vessels. So we started talking to them, and it so happened that they thought that they can sit with us because they didn't want it to go to their competitor, Fodler. So we bought that company, and we bought that company for technology, not for revenue, basically. So the growth comes from either inorganic growth or going inorganic or going organic. In my opinion, you have to keep your eyes open and see where is the opportunity and then decide.
Correct.
Right. Thank you, sir. Now, my next question to Hardik, sir. Sir, during these years, we have observed number of times that you have been telling clients that they should be in a position to write a check of rupees 100 crores within a 20 years. What exactly is your real proposition?
Okay. So, in my limited experience, I have observed that there are number of families having net worth of 500 crore, 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore, 100 crore. But the financial asset is the challenge to every family. So why the richest family have the problem with liquidity? And that is probably the asset allocation, lack of asset allocation, and secondly, the lack of financial planning. Because an individual, the way Anand Bhai and Himanshu Bhai are confident, passionate about running and growing their own business, they would not be okay with 15-20% of the market return. They are chasing higher return. But we help our customer to believe that there has to be, because to generate 30%, you and your money both are working. But by investing in indirect stock market, with the stock market product, you are not working, your money is working, and you are generating 15%. So we realize that every family should have the capacity to have a financial asset of more than 100 crore, and we launched a club called The Billionaires. And because if I were to tell Himanshu Bhai that you should have a 1,000 crore check capital, he would not be interested because he said, now even if I generate that 1,000 crore check capital, what would I do with that money? So we help families understand that generate that 1,000 crore, 100 crore over 20 years. And there are tools and there are products available and we have designed those things. Secondly, in city like Surat, post GST, post RERA, there were high reluctance. Hirenbhai would agree that there was high resistance for tax payment. And the moment you say check capital, people are not okay with that. And we wanted to initiate that, yes, let's talk check capital. And today we are happy that we have more and more families believing in long-term wealth creation. And there is a goal attached that minimum 100 crore check capital should be our family goal. And that club is prospering well today.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the great. And I hope the upcoming generation start practicing and they write 100 crore check in less than 10 years now. Yeah.
Also, there is one important thing that I want to share that Himanshu Bhai and Anand Bhai are very rich, ultra high net worth, successful business owners. If India were to be rich tomorrow, which is doubtless, today, because globally we are analyzed and assessed on the dollar as a currency, our wealth net worth is also decided on the parameters of dollar ownership. So by default, our wealth is divided by 80 or 78 today. So we thought that every family should have clarity that I do not want to compete with the Indian rich family. I want to compete with the global rich family, and thus we have to develop the vision of a dollar billionaire. A dollar billionaire.
Thank you. And so, moving ahead, Hiren sir, you being an eminent chartered accountant since years now, you come in contact with number of your clients who are investing and their pattern of investment. So, we would like to know what are the key characteristics of their investment and how basically they plan their investment, how do they take advice from you and move ahead.
Well, one example is sitting right on left side of me, sample. But is my close friend as well as a really good value creator. But yeah, I mean, with any mid to large size firm, we come across different sets of people, different sets of clients with different sets of mentality.
Correct.
So some are ultra conservative, some are like extraordinarily aggressive in terms of their portfolio. Some make really good money, some make, but when we analyze the balance sheets, I think we find that people have developed good equity portfolio. I think that's generally, our perception has been. And then we found some of the assets which run over 100 crores of rupees, 100 or 500 or 1,000 crores, and all lying in nothing but equity or mutual fund, tell you.
Correct.
Also clients who will just believe in real estate, I tell you. And there also, I tell you, the portfolios have really, gone multi-fold. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's just a question of last 5 to 6 years, the real estate has not really performed. Let's put it after demonetization event. But all said and done, I tell you that, I just give one example. About 4 months back, a client, I wouldn't say potential client, walks into my office, comes through a referral somewhere from Silvassa. I have another client in Silvassa who references this client who walks in, a very uncouth man, you find him to be pajama and shirt pere, slipper pere type, no. He walks in, is very scared, and when he doesn't really show up. And then he says, my mother just died, and we are 3 brothers and sister. We want to divide all assets equally and have come before you. Doesn't disclose his cards. I think he holds a meeting after 1 week. In the 3rd meeting, he tells me that I have 70 lakh of Axis Bank shares.
Oh.
And then in the next meeting, about the same value shares he has and then it just assets just go over much more than 1,000 crore, I tell you. And he has the same level of asset in terms of land bank, I tell you. And how these are created, when I saw, it was just because he's stuck to those assets.
Correct.
That's all, and nothing else. It's like, someone just keeps on buying and selling land, over a period. Let's say, imagine let's say span of 10 years, and a person who buys a land and holds it for 10 years, I think probably person who buys and holds will be more actually rich than a person who just simply a trader. I think same applies with the equity market. I think so.
Right.
So I think this is how my clients have been building. But yeah, equity is one of the important factors.
Okay. So, continuing the same. So, in terms of theme. So, what theme they should play out? Like for the when we talk about the next decade, you were talking about the real estate that didn't work for last decade or so. So, when we talk about the next decade, so which theme that it should play out? Any observations, sir? Yeah.
Well, I think if you ask me no-brainer, then just put into index and keep it for 10 years. I tell you, you're now not going to go wrong. Like even Siddharth stated, what you predicted back then, that index will turn 25,000. That's a no-brainer. I mean, that's how Americans do. Most of their money are put into index fund. People just move with the index. But yeah, I think equity, because that's going to perform well. And thanks to even Anand Bhai, he shared a report which is very nice, I'll share with you, is about, if you see next 10 years, is the companies which are export-oriented are going to really make big-time money. You try to look at one of the trends that you see in next 10 years, so many Western companies will be opting India as their either manufacturing hub or service hub. Because now they are relocating from China to other destinations.
Right.
And India is among the 4 top destinations which is identified by those Western world, particularly US companies, to put. I think these are the sectors. Plus you can put into chemical or pharma or electronics, even the health insurance, health sector overall. You cannot go wrong with this kind of things. Okay. And this is how I look at, well, you call it a theme or a color or whatever, but these are the areas which will perform well.
Correct.
Thank you. It means Hiren sir no jo answer છે એ કદાચ અમારા ફેવરમાં છે. Think about equity. So my next question to Anand sir. Sir, we heard that you are also investing in startups.
Yeah.
So what are the key factors or key parameters where you look at?
I'm a brick and mortar guy, so I prefer factories. I prefer some manufacturing happening over there. Some kind of IP has to be in those companies. I mean, that's my own mental setup also, that you have to be doing manufacturing something different. So, for example, in my company, I hold 26 MNC customers.
Right.
Very few companies in India do that. So I try to find similar examples into some other startup. And of course, the potential to grow. So, for example, we all know, especially chemicals is growing by 20% at minimum. So I would want something to grow at more than 40%. So that is the kind of areas I look at. So one area which I've been very active upon is defense.
Right.
So in defense in India. So we have invested into 3 startups. One is optoelectronics, manufacturing optical sights for guns, for laser finding, for artillery guns, for it's in Ahmedabad. It's a ISRO mentored company. Optoelectronics is the name. They plan to go public in 25 or 24. Growing almost around 200% every year, and only Indian Army contracts. Second is a drone manufacturing company in Bangalore. This is run by 2 Indian Army Air Force guys who retired around 5-6 years back. Leading brilliant guys. So I'll give you a small story on this, how Indian startups are not recognized by Indians. So a US Air Force officer comes to India and goes and meets the Minister of Defense guys in Delhi. So it's a Friday. In the afternoon, the meeting gets over with this US guy, with the Minister of Defense in India around 4 or 5 years back. And the Indian guy, officer asked this US guy, Colonel, that what's your plan now? Are you going to go to Goa? Because generally every foreign dignitary if it's the weekend, they go to Goa and chill out and then rush out whenever on a working day. But he said, no, I'm going to Bangalore actually. So he said, why Bangalore? Why? What's there in Bangalore? I mean, is the nightlife good or what's the point? So no, it's not now. We are going to work on the weekend. So I said, what do you work on the weekends in Bangalore? So we are buying some softwares for our army, and it's classified, so I cannot explain more. But we are buying some softwares from this Indian startup company in Bangalore. So so the Indian officer is interested into knowing what more is this going to happen. I mean, what's more? So he said it's classified, so I cannot explain more. But this Indian company has taken a permission from the Ministry of Defense to do work for the US Air Force. So if you want to find out more as to what it is lying in your drawers.
Right.
So you have to find for that. Well, give me the name of the company. And they say it's New Space Research, the name of the company. And so this Indian guy becomes intrigued, and he goes into the depth of it and finds out that they are manufacturing softwares for drones. And swarm drones going to 65,000 feet, staying over there for 6 months. So that is the kind of products which are this company is finding out. So the Indian guys go to Bangalore, find out, and they are dumbstruck that this company in India, who with the permission of the Indian government is working for the US government. And we are not even talking to them. We don't know what they're doing. So this message goes to PMO. PMO says, fine, we want to do something. They say every single drone order has to be countersigned by these guys, that they have to showcase that anything which Indian Air Force or Indian Army is buying has to be done. So this was the second thing. And it's, I mean, we entered at a very under 100, and currently it is valued at around 3,000 plus. So in a span of 2 years. So, and the similar company in US is valued at around $6 billion. So that's the second company. The third company is into only manufacturing anti-bullet products. It's a new startup. They were buying those products. I mean, Indian companies are buying those products from Russia or from China. These guys have developed it themselves in, again, it's in Ahmedabad. It's growing very fast. So these are the three options which I have. Again, I said that, I mean, I would want to know what, I mean, there should be a manufacturing, first. And second, it should be differentiated. I mean, it's very difficult for somebody to break into this because, you know, you need to have this kind of software abilities in your hands. And the third is market potential. So these are the three things which I look for, and I invest into such companies.
Right.
So basically, the
it
technology
looks like
company.
we are having so many opportunities in India where one can invest, and that's why we are saying in next 25 years are golden period for our investors.
Yes. Thank you. Hiren Bhai has given his ideas regarding the next investment opportunity in the coming decade. So, Himanshu sir, similar question. What are the investment avenues one can consider during the upcoming most opportune time, which is known as Amrit Kaal, stated by Shri Narendra Modi? So, what are your suggestions on way to different options of investment? So, in the coming decade.
So we are talking of
Decade.
25 years Amrit Kaal.
Yes.
Okay, fine. See, the world has changed more in last 10 years than last 100 years. So the rate of change is enhanced to a level where even it is difficult to predict for coming 10 years.
Correct.
So the investment opportunities are various, and they are changing also very fast. So when you ask me what investment is good or what will be the futuristic investment, in my opinion, what Anand Bhai told you, that in India, see, the government of India is promoting Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. And if you really see, these engineering or technology products based on AI are doing really well. So basically, if you think of investing in technology, then you should go for something where a new startups where Anand Bhai has described it very well, that they are all futuristic, they are all aligned with Government of India policy. So that is one of the options for investment. But you know, in India, see, the youth population is almost below 25, it is almost 50%.
50%.
So their aspiration, Siddharth was telling that our per capita income is growing and it has just crossed $2,000. If you really see, the China growth started, real growth started when they crossed $2,000 approximately. So then the growth was on the aspirations of the youth, so which we have crossed now. So anything where you invest or you plan to go into should be the aspiration of youth. Like, you know, every youth has, in my age, the air conditioner or a car or a two-wheeler was a luxury. Today, every house will have that. Every young guy would, without his house being air conditioned, he will not do that. He will not stay or buy a house. So in future, our investment should be directed towards the aspirations of the young and the growth of these young people, and they're looking forward.
Yes, so technology will be the key part. That's what, and the young generation are up to it.
Hardik sir, what's your opinion for one single asset class for next 25 years?
I would unbiasedly say it is listed equity. For a simple reason that the example that was shared of the startup, it has higher risk and higher return. So listed equity has all the potential to surprise the wealth creation journey.
Right. But sir, as far as listed equity is concerned, so ultimately it is out of 100, 10% is all about the investments, but 90% of the wealth is created through proper monitoring of it. Right. So what's your opinion as far as monitoring is concerned?
Right. So what you are talking is the net worth, family net worth, individual net worth. Right. So what happens that many of the family do not have exact clarity about the net worth for a variety of reasons. So what we help families that put every piece of information on paper, keep one-page summary that will clearly tell you that what is your net worth today and what is the aspiration for net worth next year. So when we talk to a family for their family, as a family council, as an investment policy, there should be annual growth objective, and that can be tracked only with such one-page summary. And one-page summary, people were reluctant so far for the reason that they were not so comfortable in disclosing everything to the family and to the consultant.
Right.
So now probably those days. Yes. So, Hiranbhai, you will be happy that I encourage my clients to disclose their net worth to the family on their birthday, so that he or she would be more happy that, yes, I am growing day by day. So that one-page summary, and if you can, I think I shared that one-page summary sample also, that one-page summary can exactly tell you what is your liability, what is your investment, what is your investment in partnership interest, what is your bullion investment, what is your currency investment. Everything is declared in one page. So that one-page summary is something very critical for every.
Yes,
this is
right.
what it is, one-page summary. And it tells everything about family. Right. So if this is adopted by family, probably we are on path to 100 crore and 1,000 crore net worth.
Right. And sir, what's your opinion for listed equity? It is also necessary to monitor it on regular basis.
Yes, obviously. See, for listed equity, I would say only two things. Everybody is biased to lot many sectors, and probably that bias destruct your wealth creation journey. So the best way to manage listed equity is to engage a fund manager.
Right.
Do not think that you are smart, because most of the time our wealth is generated by ignorance. We don't know that we own this thing. And by default, we feel that, oh, I was smart enough to stay invested, but we didn't realize that I am an investor.
Right.
And many times what happens that what Warren Buffett sir says that the best stock, the best next stock is to own, is the thing that already you own it.
Right.
So we do not believe in concentrated portfolio, and it needs guts and clarity and data and process. So what I said earlier, that do not invest in product, invest in process. That fund manager are the only people who can help, and regardless of the interference of artificial intelligence or anything, the human intervention, because end of the day, it is our individual biases and emotions that comes in way. So always advisable to have a good fund manager, and I would strongly suggest Siddharth as a good fund manager.
Thank you
sir.
for your compliments.
Anand sir, chemical industry of India is a major contributor to the Indian economy now, which is contributing around 7% of GDP. And the Indian economy industry rank as the 6th largest in the world and 3rd in Asia now. So how do you view the growth of the chemical industry?
So, Shail, let me give you an example of what happened in China between 2000 till 2018. Chinese specialty chemical manufacturing companies. For example, I mean, I know few companies whom we had visited in 98, 99, turnover of around $1 million. At that point of time, it was around 4 crore rupees, being 35 to 40 rupees was the exchange rate. Those companies in China are worth around, as a market cap is around $3.6 billion. Another company was around $1.2 billion, a trading company. It went into manufacturing. It's currently now with a market cap of around $17 billion. Third company, which was just a small pharma manufacturing company, and they also went into stocking of products, so large scale stocking. And they are one of the largest stockers of phenol, acetone, all this stuff to hold products again in China. And they have become, I mean, that company is currently, and it's a publicly listed company, all these three, they have become around $19 billion again. So that is the kind of growth which has happened in China. Again, just to give you an idea of what specialty chemical is, I'm not talking about commodity chemicals. So commodity chemicals are being manufactured by many people in India and China, but specialty chemicals, so basically I would say it's a 3-step process. So any product which is having a 3-step will be considered to be a semi-commodity, a semi-specialty or a specialized product. So those kind of companies in China are valued at around $900 billion. That's the kind of a market.
Okay.
This market is growing every year by around 7 to 15% based on different products. So cosmetics is growing very fast. It's growing at more than 30%. An average, say for example, products which goes into your clothes, dry cleaning, which is growing at around 10%. So on an average, the market is growing at 15%, say worldwide. India is only, I mean, specialty chemical company in India is only $3 billion. And that too, some products which are coming out from Reliance as a petroleum complex or maybe from IPCL, they are also classified as specialty chemicals. So if you take that out, we are only around $1.5 billion in India. So the growth available for specialty chemicals, in which I belong to, is unbelievable. We grew in the last 7 years on a 30% CAGR.
Okay.
I cannot say more, I mean, on this platform, but I think we would be able to do similar in the next 5 years, maybe more if possible, but that is what we have planned. If you see the capex which is done by all chemical companies in India, especially chemical companies in India, nobody is doing less than 500 crores with a top line of say around 7,000 crores. So 50% capex on the top line revenue is being done by average manufacturing companies in India, specialized chemical companies in India. So the potential is unbelievable. If you see SEBI records, I think almost around 74 companies are planning to take out IPOs in India, especially chemical companies in India. So that's the kind of, the market is ready to accept this kind of deluge of specialty chemicals company to come into the market. If you see PI, SRF, our peers, Navin Fluorine, the way they have grown in the last 10 years, I mean, we will be amazed. I mean, we should do that data. And I think this is just the cusp of this start of this going ahead. I think you'll see a lot of splits, a lot of bonuses coming out from these companies in the next 2-3 years. I think so. The way specialty chemical is happening, it's going to be unbelievable. I mean, I know for a fact that there are 10 companies in Swapi who have got turnover of between 200 to 300 crores are planning for an IPO. And they have not got on the board also as of now. So it is, I think the way things are going, specialty chemicals in India is going to enter into a boom, and this is going to last for next 10 years. Europeans and the US and the Japanese guys are tired of the Chinese. They want China plus one strategy anyhow. The relationship manager is the guy who buys it. He will be having an affinity for the Chinese product because it is competitive. But the supply chain guys, the guy who handles and controls the personal, how you say it, the salaries of this relationship guy is concentrating on ensuring that India becomes, or rather India enriches the wallet share from China, so to speak. So for example, most of the products in which which Anupam is manufacturing, we have grown in our old products by almost 10 to 15% in the last 3 years, every year. And the new products are growing by 30 to 40%. I mean, and this is for throughout the industry. If you see PI, SRF, Navin Fluorine, even Heikel for the matter, in spite of the fact that they had some governance issues. But these guys, the way they are working, the way they have inquiries. I mean, for me, 3 years back, we were having only 24 people in our R&D. Today, we are having 85, and we will be doing 150 people, I mean, scientists. I mean, an MSc level guy in our team in R&D. So that's, and not only for Anupam. I mean, it's throughout the industry. Everybody is deluded with inquiries, with orders. How much can we put up? We just ask the government, ke boss, wo environment clearance thoda easy kar do, thoda fast kar do. And I think we can do wonders. Indian specialty chemical companies are on the cusp. If you want to look at, I would sincerely suggest Siddharth bhai also કે ભાઈ તમારા પર છે ને એ સ્પેશિયલી કેમિકલનું પેલું બ્રેકેટ નહીં હતું એ ચાલુ કરો અનુપમનું નથી કહેતો પણ જનરલી કહું છું તમને. So it's a really a growth driver, and I sincerely suggest. And Hirenbhai is speaking on this, and Hirenbhai pointed out કે યાર તારો સેગમેન્ટ દેખાતું નથી કસાય અહીંયા એટલે પછી મને સ્ટ્રાઇક થયું કે let me bring it to your attention. It's a great growth driver. We should invest into.
Yes.
Including pharma company.
Thank you, sir. Very valuable inputs. Now, my next question to Himanshu, sir. Sir, your one setup is in India, another now setup in Germany also. So, what's your view on Indian talents? Indian talents. Are our entrepreneur talents based in world? What's your view?
See, our entrepreneurs are as good as anywhere else in the world. Only thing is that the opportunity was not. See, I see young boys today is performing. I mean, if you just look at our startups, see what wonders they are doing. See, until now, the infrastructure was not conducive, or infrastructure was not provided. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi understands this. He knows how to promote these young boys. So he's making lots of things being to promote them. The government of India is doing lots of things. So I would not say that our entrepreneurs are lacking anything. They are as good as anywhere in the world.
Thank you, sir. And we have a live examples also. So I think now I would like to, Sahiwal sir, please carry forward.
So before we end, very basic and last question to Hiren sir. So how do you pick up the asset classes, specific asset in out of the total asset classes? So how do you pick up that? How do you pick up a specific asset out of the total asset classes available? So.
Macro question.
Difficult to answer. Specific asset class within the
With the sphere or with the theme options that are available for investment.
let's narrow it down. Or probably my answer remains more unaltered in the sense that let's put it in equity class. When it comes to equity class, which I stated that, you also asked a question about the theme that you are looking at, let's say 10 years hence, or how sectors are going to perform. Yes, I mean, within asset class, it is a sector that would be more focused than individual companies. I mean, like for instance, like what Anand Bhai stated was missed out by was defense, for example, or electronics, automobile, chemical, pharma. Of course, these are the sectors which I would probably be more focusing if I take equity as a like a larger class, for example, and try to put my money more into these kind of. Where you really make money is in small cap. Let's put it. I mean, that's where the movement is, I tell you, because that really, those cows actually go up so fast and comes down also so fast. But well, you may end up making money over there. But I wouldn't suggest small cap like unless you have a very niche
Deep
company
knowledge or
or
understanding.
niche company or. But I think my broad answer would be like this on equity.
Okay. And thank you. So I sincerely thank each panelist to be here and giving their valuable inputs. Hope everyone enjoyed this panel discussion. And I request you to please stay here if we can take a few questions from the audience as well. And
Before
I
that,
request Siddharth Bhai to
I think
join.
before that, I would like to invite Hemant sir also.
Yeah, so you and...
He can also give...
Yeah, yeah. So Siddharth Bhai also, if you can join the panel.
Sir, please.
Yeah. So we would just quickly take a few questions. First one's for Siddharth sir. So the way you explained how the debt to equity, the way you explained the debt to equity of NSE 500 companies have decreased over the years, and as well as you are saying that the credit growth in the industry has been very good. So where is the money actually flowing, and where do you actually see this going ahead?
See, as I told in my presentation, that if you look at Nifty 500 companies, they have become deleveraged. Their balance sheet has become deleveraged. From 0.62, it has come down to 0.19. So what does this mean? कि एक तो ये हुआ है कि बैंक्स ने जो प्रोविजन करना था वो ऑलमोस्ट काफ़ी कुछ कर दिया है. और दूसरी चीज़ अच्छी ये हो रही है कि कैपेक्स साइकिल इज हैज़ जस्ट स्टार्टेड, सो क्रेडिट साइकिल इज अहेड ऑफ अस, राइट. तो अभी तो क्रेडिट ग्रोथ आना है. सी रिसेंटली टिल 3 months बैक आवर क्रेडिट ग्रोथ वॉज इन सिंगल डिजिट एंड नाउ इट हैज़ क्रॉस्ड अराउंड 13%. सो आई एम वेरी बुलिश कि इस बार ये जो क्रेडिट ग्रोथ आ रहा है ये सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ है और ये लंबा चलने वाला है. सो दिस इज़ माई टेक.
The next question is for all the panelists in general. What is your take on investing in startups and their way of working with high cash burn and acquisition?
Well, I continue with my biased opinion that I believe in listed equity only. India is still not so much ready for the startup investment. Only ultra high net worth individual and smart investors like Anand Bhai and Himanshu Bhai can take bet. India is not ready for the retail investor.
In fact, Anand Bhai has already answered this question very well.
So what in Anupam, what we are doing is that we have tied up with a lot of universities in Gujarat and also in Maharashtra, and we are inviting people or children who just passed out from the college and who have got a concept in their mind about doing something new in chemical. So we invite them. We go out, we actually go out and reach out to the HODs of that chemical department of those particular university or college and invite those children and tell them that we'll fund you totally for your concept if it is genuine. So we have a technical advisory committee in the company who validates that concept, and if it is workable, if it is logical, we take those children on board, support them throughout. So I think it's more of an initiative from the industry which will have to be given to startups to be actually be mentored. So unless without a mentor, I think very few startups can drive their growth on their own. So that is what I have learned from my investing, and that is what we are now trying to do, because we saw this in ISRO. So ISRO is mentoring almost around 300 startups. After considering more than 15,000 startup concepts, out of which they are doing 300, and they have identified a whole department who just takes care of such startups. So that is what we are trying to copy, or not copy, I would say, but use that concept in Anupam. Yeah.
Sir, follow up to Mr. Anand sir. How do you find government approach towards all the regulatory clearances for specialty chemicals, their PLI push and everything?
So as far as environment clearance is concerned, I think you need to plan in advance. If you, so that's what we tell our customers. So in Anupam's case, we have a single product, single customer. It's custom manufactured only for him. And so all the MNC customers like BSF, Bayer, Syngenta, Sumitomo, who are our customers, they have a 5-year, 7-year plan. I mean, they just don't come tomorrow morning and say, okay, I want this day after tomorrow. And so that doesn't happen in our case. It happens in commodity, but not in Anupam's case. So when we have this kind of foresight or rather this kind of clarity on how we want to, or rather how the customer wants that product from us. So that is what, based on those ideas or a contract or a LOI, based on that, we plan for the environment clearance, which we have enough time. For example, we are working on some products which will be introduced in 26 today. So that is a kind of the roadmap or the drive which we are able to get from the customers. Based on that, we go backwards, take environment clearance today, and because all the MNCs, they want transparency and ethics. We cannot do anything shortcut. If I do anything shortcut, then I am in problem. That's a mistake, which we don't do. And we'll tell the customer. So if you want us to be ethical, if you want to be clear, please give us advance notice, advance idea about making the product in Anupam and getting it out from India. So if you have this kind of clarity coming from those guys, I think we don't make mistakes. So PLI is, again, government schemes, I mean, government incentive schemes are good, important when you have a commodity product or, when you have a Chinese competition in which the pricing is defined by the Chinese guys based on volumes. In my case, in Anupam's case, we are insulated to a very large extent. The customer knows what the price of that product would be from China, and we have a healthy margin. So PLI, we are not much interested in because you have to give a lot of data to the government in which we keep on losing our IP. So we don't do that because these are all custom-made products. If you see my business case or my presentations which is online, we don't disclose product names which we have signed an agreement with the customer. It's a confidentiality. I mean, if I disclose my product names, I am not a custom manufacturer. I'm a commodity guy. I'm competing against somebody else. We don't do that. In India, most of the products which we manufacture, we are the single suppliers of that product out of a geographic condition, be it India or Asia. So that's how we drive our business. That's how we have this forecast. So once you have this clarity, I think it's very simple. And again, in Anupam's case, being ethical, we try to do something which is simple. If things are simple, you don't make mistakes. So that's something how we tackle government regulations.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is for Siddharth, sir. As per your thought process, which sectors can do well in Amrit Kaal?
See, I can answer this for full day, right? But I am very bullish on 3 themes. One is banking sector, because democratization of credit is happening in India. Poor people are able to access credit easily now, which earlier was not that much easy. Second big theme which I think should do well in Amrit Kaal is aspirational consumption. So till now, basic consumption stocks were doing well. They created huge wealth for investors. But from now onwards, aspirational wealth will be created. So be it luxury cars, be it jewelry, hotels, and things like that should make much more money for investors. Third, obviously, is non-banking side of investments, where you can have insurance companies, life insurance, non-life, asset management companies. They will create wealth. And the business model is very good over here. If you see the business model of AMCs, they don't require any capital to grow. So if today Prashant Jain was managing 2 lakh crore and somebody gives him 1 lakh crore more, it will directly go to the bottom line. So this is how the business models are, similar to FMCG type of models. So these are some of the themes which should do well. Apart from this, there are many themes which can do well. So we have to dig inside that company and search our own winners.
In many other sectors that he is talking, I would add chemicals, engineering, fintech, and broking.
Thank you, sir. A question for the entire panel. How do you look at macro conditions, like given crude, war, pandemic, and other things which happen around the world? How do you plan yourself accordingly in the future as well?
I don't think it's going to impact. Honestly speaking, it's just probably spikes that come and go. That's it. I think so. Anand, you want to take it?
I think short term there'll be pain, but I think this will make the government more conscious about reducing our dependence on oil. This will also ensure that a lot of policies towards renewable energy will come into play. For example, Gujarat is the only state which takes a banking charge of almost 2 rupees per unit, compared to 30 paisa or 40 paisa in other states of India. So we have represented via CII to Government of India that this is something which is against the policy of the state, or rather to bring more investments into solar and wind. So the government has almost finalized the policy, hopefully, it will be released soon, in which banking charge will reduce. So this is an opportunity, and this is what, Gadkari Sahib and PM Modi Sahib are saying, that problems, bring out opportunities in you. And I think we should, as an Indian, we should look at this as an opportunity, start using our mind and our money to put into such companies who are into renewables. I strongly suggest to invest into renewable energy. It's going to go places. I think that is one area which we have been, Anupam and myself, we have been putting money into listed space as far as renewable energy is concerned. And with the way the EV is growing, demand for electricity is going to be unbelievable, with new gadgets coming in, massive demand. So I think it's a matter of time, and I personally see such problems as an opportunity. You start thinking for it, maybe 1 year down the line, you get something coming new out of it. So that's how I see it, because otherwise it's very pessimistic. If you see the global scenario, we and Indians have been insulated by the government policies of the past 3, 4, 5 years, that we are not seeing the pain in Europe or in Southeast Asia. We have seen on TV what happened in Sri Lanka, now in Pakistan and Bangladesh. Bangladesh people were saying it is ahead of India. Now they are asking for a limit from India of $4.5 billion. So that's the seriousness of the issue globally. But I think we are in a far better position, and we need to realize this. When we go to vote, we need to realize this.
Rishabh, I will answer this question in a different manner. See, एक स्टोरी के साथ आपको समझाता हूँ कि हाउ आर द कंडीशंस टुडे, एंड यहाँ पे जितने ही बैठे हैं सबका एक ही क्वेश्चन है कि भाई अभी इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते, राइट? सो आई विल टेल यू वन स्टोरी. दिस स्टोरी वाज टोल्ड बाय पीटर लिंच, अ वेरी गुड फंड मैनेजर. तो उन्होंने क्या बोला कि एक बार एक पार्क में एक फंड मैनेजर जाता है और उसके साथ एक डेंटिस्ट जाता है. यहाँ पे मेरे एक फ्रेंड भी आए हैं, प्रयन भाई, जो डेंटिस्ट है. तो फंड मैनेजर एंड डेंटिस्ट 2 जन जा रहे हैं, और वहाँ पे पब्लिक है. अगर सारी पब्लिक डेंटिस्ट के पास चले जाती है तो क्या समझने का कि मार्केट इज़ वेरी चीप, कोई फंड मैनेजर की वैल्यू नहीं है, कोई फंड मैनेजर के पास आ नहीं रहा है, तो समझने का मार्केट इज़ वेरी चीप. दूसरा सिनेरियो जिसमें 50% पब्लिक बढ़ जाती है, 50% गोज टू डेंटिस्ट, 50% गोज टू फंड मैनेजर, तो क्या समझने का मार्केट इज रीजनेबली वैल्यूड. तीसरा सिनेरियो कि जहाँ पे सब फंड मैनेजर के पास जाते हैं, नोबडी इज आस्किंग टू डेंटिस्ट, तो समझने का मार्केट इज ओवर वैल्यूड. मैक्रो वैक्रो छोड़ दो, देखना ही नहीं है, यही देखना है. एंड फोर्थ सिनेरियो भी बताता हूँ. फोर्थ सिनेरियो भी है जहाँ पे सब फंड मैनेजर के पास जाते हैं, लेकिन फंड मैनेजर को कोई पूछता नहीं है, वो खुद बोलते हैं सब. अगर ऐसा है तो समझ लो मार्केट टेरिबली वैल्यूड एंड सेल इट.
Yeah, I have a question for all the panelists, for larger interest of our guest. That Hiren Bhai, I suppose, is the 4th generation is into business. Your son has also joined, I suppose?
Not yet joined.
But soon joining.
May join.
Okay. Anand Bhai, I suppose, 2nd generation?
Yeah, she wants to come. She's a daughter.
Okay. And Himanshu Bhai already has introduced 3rd generation. Yes. So the challenges for all of us here sitting, that we are so sure that we are rich today, we will be more rich tomorrow. Now the challenges of the family managed business, what challenges do you see as the family managed business?
My son has already joined. My nephew has already joined. The challenge is that they now say, Papa, aap ghar pe baitho. See, you manage your relations. आपको जब जरूरत होगा तब हम आपको बुलाएंगे. See, but thing is this, that we have to learn how to run the family-owned businesses. There are so many instances where we fail to understand how the financial world works. When we started with only engineering business. I think Anand also, when he started, he was also. So It is yet to be learned how to run a family-owned business.
So in my case, my daughter, she's still studying. So she plans to be a chemical engineer. But my nephew and my niece, they have joined the company. So the idea is everybody wants to sit on the, the boss's chair or, a position. But in our case, it was very clear. In my case particularly, that child who joins from in my company, she will have to, or he will have to come up from the ranks. So झाड़ू भी मारना पड़ता है, चाय भी सर्व करनी पड़ती है, and now they have graduated out from that level. So overall, he is my nephew also. I think people know him. Hiran bhai knows him, Paras bhai knows him. He is a master from Germany. He has joined and he handles the process development in Anupam. He has joined since last 4 years now, but he has come up from the ranks. He is working hard. 14 घंटा काम नहीं किया तो फिर वो मीनिंग नहीं है. That is my personal idea, and they try to live up to it. My niece, she is just new, but she also works on Sundays. They ensure that that commitment to the business from the family should be there, irrespective of पैसा है कि नहीं है, धंधा है कि नहीं है, but कुछ नया सीखना है, नया करना है. That should be the differentiating concept of the person in his or her own mind. If you are able to do that, I think I will have done my job well. Paisa, secondary hai, it is important. They have to learn that. So we have some people who come from Mumbai. They explain to all the people, every staff in the company, कि भाई invest कैसे करने का, कब करने का, कब नहीं करने का. So because अभी UPSI, it's very important for us as a company, as a listed company. My people cannot buy some stocks at some point of time, insider trading and all those issues. So we are guiding our people and our children also as to what to do, what not to do, which products to buy, which not to buy, and developing their own mindset. So I think that's a conscious effort which we as a parent have to look at it. And I think you can start it as fast as possible. So Hemant bhai, I would suggest that you bhi avu kai chalu karo. I would welcome it. We are getting people from Mumbai. Why don't you do it in Surat? That is something, that's my suggestion.
Very, very quick, Chirag.
Responding to what Anand bhai says, in our company, we have a very good research team. They are CA, CFA, and the way they analyze the things and the way they make presentation, whatever we have discussed during last 3 hours or, they do it on ongoing basis, daily basis. And when I sit with them, I see that they are almost fresh CA, CFA, but the way they try to evaluate, the way they try to understand, it is phenomenal. And now is going to be very important role. See, fund manager, what he does is, he first gets input from the research team. And then he evaluates from different perspective. But it is the research team who comes up with idea. It is the research team who analyze the past performance. It is the research team who gets deep into it. And then fund manager takes a call. Now, fund manager is also following a process. He doesn't pick up a stock as and when he feels that, oh, this is a good stock, let me buy. No, this is not a good stock, this let me sell. He keeps under watch list for a long time. And once bought, then he very closely monitor this. So, there are so many things happening on economy, there are so many things happening in the companies. So all these things are being taken care of by our team. And I would suggest that if you are free and would like to interact with our team, you are most welcome to our office. So I have given answer to Anand bhai in little different way.
Thank you.
A very, very quick take on this. I think I see a lot of two generations, like Deepak bhai, Rajni bhai, there are a lot of even Nainesh bhai also has a success, and Hemant bhai so has a success and all. But in my, before I speak about how as third generation chartered accountant we behave and how we do, I've seen a lot of businesses in front of my eyes. The first generation makes money, second sustains it. In the third generation, it falls down, I tell you. Umpteen cases, it's not just one or two. Why this happens? I think it's about not valuing the money, what Anand by really stated is about like working hard to it and really valuing the money. That's a core, and living simply. Like for example, again he states, everyone has to move up the rank. My son also first he had to be a clerk actually before now. What really happens when you are a son of an owner is you feel that you are in the driving seat from day one, and that probably mentality has to go away, and they have to make their own place. I think so. That's only, and then live simply. I think it's just about living low profile. That's a key. Then only you can sustain wealth over generations.
In fact, in audience also, we have number of very good entrepreneurs who can sit on dais and talk like this. But unfortunately, because of certain constraints, we have not been in a position to invite them. Our advisor, Milan Bhai Ganatra, he is running a very successful fintech company. And if he sits here, he can talk for another half an hour, 1 hour. But sorry, we'll of course invite him because he is part of our team. So we'll continue with this type of deliberation. Our friend Sanjay Bhai Punjabi is already suggesting us that let us have this type of events with a higher frequency more often, and maybe in a select group. So I'm taking cue from that also, and I'm sure that we'll have more timings of brainstorming, and I think everybody will enjoy this.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank all the panelists for answering each and every question in such a detailed way. This was the last question for the day. I would request all the members to submit the feedback form to the representatives. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the dignitaries who have graced the occasion and shared their meaningful insights regarding the future of Indian economy and the trends of diverse investment for securing a safe and prosperous financial future.
I also thank all the panelists who have spared their precious time to be here, to be present, and share their views on the same. Gratitude to all who have contributed to this signature event. I would like everyone to please join us for the lunch, and we would call it for the day. Thank you so much.